The interstellar archive station floated quietly above the blue world of Asteron. From a distance it looked peaceful, like a small silver star drifting in space. But inside the station lived one of the most important collections in the galaxy, the forgotten history of hundreds of civilizations. Broken tablets, dead languages, lost star maps, old recordings from worlds that no longer existed. The station existed for one purpose: to listen to ghosts. Adrian Vale liked that idea. He was a human linguist, which meant he spent most of his life talking to people who had been dead for centuries. His work chamber was filled with floating holographic screens. Strange alien letters glowed softly in the air around him. Some symbols were so old that no living species could read them anymore. Adrian leaned back in his chair and stared at one line of glowing text. "All right," he sighed. He rubbed his eyes. Either this symbol means eternal royal bloodline, or it means ceremonial soup storage. The translation computer hummed quietly. "Probability favors royal bloodline," the AI said. Adrian nodded slowly. "Good," he muttered. "Because if an entire empire collapsed over soup bowls, historians will be very disappointed." The language he was studying belonged to a civilization called the Irians. Hundreds of years ago, the Irian Empire ruled large parts of the galaxy. Their ships traveled through stargates and their science was respected everywhere. Then suddenly, they vanished. No one knew why. Their planets were abandoned. Their cities turned to ruins. Their people scattered across space. And now only one Irian was known to still exist: Queen Lara. Adrian had never met her, but today she was visiting the station. He continued studying the translation in front of him. The Irian language was fascinating. Their words were built like equations. Each name had layers of meaning hidden inside the grammar. Titles, family history, secret lineage markers. Adrian tapped his stylus against the desk. "So the royal family had secret names," he said. "Of course they did." He smiled. Being queen of a fallen empire probably wasn't dramatic enough. Behind him, the door to the chamber opened quietly. Adrian didn't notice. He was focused on one damaged inscription floating above his desk. It was an ancient royal record, but the last line had been broken centuries ago. Adrian studied the grammar carefully. Title first, dynasty marker second. He murmured. Then suddenly something clicked in his mind. His eyes widened. Oh! The pattern made sense now. Adrian stood up quickly and activated the large presentation screen in the room. "If this grammar structure is correct," he said, "then the original dynastic name would be." The translation computer finished the calculation. A new line of text appeared. Adrian read it out loud. "Lizira Valathine." The room went silent. Adrian slowly turned around, and immediately realized he was no longer alone. Several station officials stood near the entrance. 2 armored guards stood beside them, and between them stood a tall woman with long silver hair. Her calm eyes were fixed directly on him. Her elegant pointed ears revealed her species immediately. "A Irian. Queen Lara." Adrian blinked twice. "Oh," he said softly. "This presentation suddenly feels more official." One of the guards looked very serious. Adrian cleared his throat and pointed at the holographic display. "As I was explaining," he continued nervously, "Irian royal names follow a 3-layer structure." He pointed to the glowing text. The public title would translate as Queen Lara. Then he pointed to the final line. But beneath that title, the hidden lineage marker reveals the original birth name. He hesitated. Then he gestured toward the translation. "Lizira Valathine." No one spoke. The guards slowly placed their hands on their weapons. Queen Lara stepped forward. Her voice was quiet but sharp. "No one," she said slowly, "knows that name." Adrian froze. His brain tried to find an explanation. None of them sounded safe. "Well," he said carefully, "that is statistically surprising." One guard moved closer. Adrian raised both hands quickly. "In my defense," he added, "I thought it was historical trivia." The Queen studied him closely. "How did you learn it?" she asked. Adrian pointed at the floating inscription. I translated it. One guard whispered something in a language Adrian definitely hoped did not mean arrest the human. The Queen looked back at the text. Then she said something even more surprising. That name was never written in any surviving record. Adrian blinked. He looked at the translation again. Then at the Queen. Then back at the text. Well, he said slowly. That complicates my research notes. The silence in the chamber grew heavier. Finally the Queen stepped closer to the holographic display. She examined the ancient symbols carefully. Adrian watched her. After a moment she reached out and adjusted the projection. Another layer of older Irian writing appeared beneath the text. Adrian leaned forward with excitement. Oh! He pointed at the symbols. That's the pre-imperial grammar structure. One of the guards looked confused. You understood that instantly. Adrian shrugged. I drink a lot of coffee. Queen Lara turned toward him again. You speak of our language as if you lived among my people. Adrian laughed lightly. Oh no, he said. If I lived among your people, I would have been exiled within a week. Why? I ask too many questions. One of the station officials quietly nodded. The Queen studied the translations around the room. Dozens of reconstructed Irian texts floated in the air. Ancient poetry. Scientific records. Fragments of history. You translated all of this? She asked. Adrian nodded. Over the last 6 months. The Queen walked slowly through the floating projections. Her expression changed as she read them. This passage, she said quietly. Adrian checked the translation. Oh yes, he said. That describes the evacuation of your home world. Queen Lara froze. That event was never recorded outside Irian memory vaults. Adrian blinked. Oh! He looked back at the text. That explains the dramatic grammar. The guards looked uneasy. Adrian scratched his head. So, he said carefully, am I accidentally uncovering lost history? He glanced at the guards. Or accidentally committing treason against an extinct empire? One guard answered immediately. We are still deciding. Adrian nodded. Fair. The Queen remained silent for several seconds. Then she said something unexpected. Continue your work. The station officials looked shocked. Your Majesty. She raised a hand. I want to see how much more of our past this human can uncover. Adrian smiled slightly. That sounds significantly better than prison. One guard crossed his arms. For now. Adrian sighed. History truly is dangerous. And he had no idea just how dangerous it was about to become. Because somewhere deep inside the ancient Irian language, something had just started listening. 3 days later, the Interstellar Archive station felt very different. Security guards were everywhere. And Adrian Vale had become the most closely watched linguist in the galaxy. He walked into the research chamber holding a cup of synthetic coffee. 4 guards followed him. Adrian lifted the cup toward them. Good morning. None of them replied. Tough crowd, he muttered. Inside the chamber, the holographic archive filled the entire room. Thousands of Irian symbols floated like glowing stars. And standing in the center of them was Queen Lara. She was studying the translations Adrian had produced. Without her royal cloak, she looked less like a distant ruler and more like a quiet historian. Good morning, Adrian said. You are late, she replied. Adrian looked at the clock. It is 8:02. Yes. In academic time that is extremely early. The Queen ignored that. You reconstructed several additional records overnight. Adrian smiled proudly. I couldn't sleep. Why? My brain kept trying to solve your verb conjugation system. She paused. That sounds unpleasant. It was. Adrian activated another layer of translation. More ancient text filled the chamber. This section describes an early Irian engineering project, he explained. The Queen read the translation. Her eyes narrowed. This cannot be correct. Adrian frowned. Which part? This phrase. She pointed at the text. Linguistic resonance mapping. Adrian nodded. Yes. That concept did not exist during that era. Adrian rubbed his chin. Well, it does now. The Queen crossed her arms. Explain. Adrian zoomed into the grammar structure. Your ancestors built something unusual into the language, he said. Each sentence contains hidden structural markers. The guards looked confused. Adrian continued. It's like memory stored inside grammar. Queen Lara stared at him. You believe our language preserves knowledge? Adrian nodded. I think your civilization built a backup system for its history. She slowly looked around the chamber. Thousands of reconstructed texts floated everywhere. Military logs. Scientific records. Personal journals. If you are correct, she said quietly, then our civilization never truly vanished. Adrian smiled. Exactly. At that moment something strange happened. In the center of the chamber, a cluster of Irian symbols began moving. No one touched the controls. The glowing characters slowly rearranged themselves. Adrian frowned. That is new. One guard stepped forward. Is it dangerous? Adrian tilted his head. Historically speaking, when ancient alien systems activate themselves. He paused. It's either a major discovery. The guard waited. Or the beginning of a disaster. The guard looked annoyed. That is not helpful. Queen Lara moved closer to the projection. Her eyes widened. That pattern, she whispered. You recognize it? Adrian asked. Yes. The symbols formed a complex circular structure. A living equation made of language. It is a memory sequence, she said. Adrian's eyes lit up. Oh good. The guards looked confused. How is that good? Adrian pointed excitedly. Because if I'm right. He paused. The archive mind just activated. The chamber fell silent. More symbols appeared. Ancient records began linking together across the holographic network. Entire libraries of lost knowledge returned to life. Scientific theories. Historical events. Personal letters. Centuries of Irian civilization suddenly filled the room. The guards stared in disbelief. Adrian looked thrilled. Well, he said calmly. That confirms the system works. Queen Lara slowly walked through the projections. Her fingers brushed against the glowing text. Her voice became quiet. These are the voices of my people. Adrian watched her gently. For centuries she had carried their memory alone. Now the entire civilization spoke again. A guard finally spoke. So the human accidentally rebuilt an alien memory system. Adrian raised a finger. In my defense, I was just finishing a translation project. The guard sighed. That explanation does not help. Queen Lara turned back toward Adrian. You understand what this means? Adrian looked at the massive archive. Yes. My civilization is no longer silent. He nodded. And the galaxy just gained thousands of years of new history. The Queen studied him carefully. You unlocked our greatest legacy. Adrian shrugged. I just listened to what the language was trying to say. She looked back at the glowing network of knowledge. For centuries she believed she was the last voice of her people. Now their civilization was speaking again. Finally she said quietly, Adrian Vale. Yes. You should remain here. He blinked. In the archive. Yes. She gestured to the endless language web surrounding them. My civilization has just been rediscovered. Adrian looked around. Thousands of ancient voices filled the chamber. He smiled. Well, he said, lifting his coffee. I always did enjoy talking to ghosts. Queen Lara looked at the glowing language of her people. For the first time in centuries, she was no longer the only one who could hear them. And somewhere deep inside the archive mind, the lost civilization of the Irians had begun to wake.